So this is how my mind works, right? There was an experiment we did in school a long time ago where you had a beaker of water, and in that beaker of water there was also sand, oil, and salt. And we stirred it all up, and everything was just mixed all together and just floating around and spinning around and uh, inside that beaker until you let it stop. And what we discovered was the oil floated to the top. So once everything was very still and the water stopped moving, the oil floated to the top, the sand sunk to the bottom, and the salt actually dissolved. You couldn't see the salt anymore. And again, I said, this is how my mind works. Okay. I don't know about any of you, but I know for me, most of the time, I feel like all of my thoughts in my mind are hard to quiet. And there's often a lot of thoughts going on all at the same time, a lot of noise. And I find it very, very hard sometimes to settle my mind. Especially, and I notice it especially when, so I'm trying to do my devotional and prayer time every morning. And it is a chore to really just quiet my mind and kind of get some of the other distractions and quiet the noise and just be still and in the moment so I can focus on my reading or, so I can focus on prayer. And so I've had to incorporate certain strategies to really help me. I have to be very intentional about just getting settled and still. But what I notice when I do get settled and still and this is going back to the experiment, right? Certain things will rise to the top, like the oil. There's other things that will settle on the bottom of my mind. And then there's things that they're not gone, but I'm just not thinking about them, like the salt, because, the salt dissolved. So even though the salt dissolved in the water, it's still there. Okay. It just dissolved because part of the experiment was learning how to extract all these elements from the water. And so by actually taking the water and putting it on a burner and evaporating the water, it will end up leaving you with the salt. So it's not gone, but it's not visible when it's dissolved. And so those are the things that I'm probably just not thinking about at all in the moment, those situations and, circumstances, problems, worries, whatever. Those things are just not on the forefront. Okay. They still exist, just not on the forefront. And then there's some other things that I'm definitely contemplating, but they kind of settle to the bottom. And I get to a point where there are just certain things that actually rise to the top. And those are the things that I think for me, that's the revelations and the inspirations. And so when I find myself really getting quiet and still, there are certain things that just rise to the top of my mind. And that ends up being the things that I will focus on at that time. And it could do with, what I'm reading at the time. It could come from just, getting into prayer, but they're just those certain things that just kind of, for whatever reason in that moment, again, once I've gotten really still and quiet, that they will rise to the top. And that's how my mind works. I feel like that's absolutely how my mind works. And so this morning in particular, it was interesting because once I was able to finally kind of just get myself to a place of quiet and stillness, the thing that rose to the top for me was how much I love my wife. That was the overwhelming, prevailing thought. And it's not like I don't think about my wife at other times, but for some reason, you know, and it's always something different that'll rise to the top at different times when I experience this. But this morning, that was the thing that rose to the top like the oil. I just wanted to share that and encourage people. I know a lot is going on in the world, a lot is going on in your life. And sometimes you need to just intentionally find time to get still and get quiet, and try to quiet some of the noise and activity in your mind and see what rises to the top for you. See what settles to the bottom. Just a thought. I'm curious what you all do. If you could comment and let me know, like if you have the same issue of just being able to quiet your mind, and what strategies you use to actually be able to do it. For me personally, one of the things I started doing is either writing or typing out my thoughts and my prayers, because it causes me to focus more on what I'm thinking about in the moment, and I get less distracted. My ADD kicks in a little less, doesn't kick in as hard, because I'm going through the motion of actually writing things out or typing things out, which causes me to focus on it more, and it kind of starts to block some of that other stuff out. Some things dissolve, some things settle to the bottom, certain things rise to the top. So just curious what strategies you all may have. And just want to say, babe, I love you very, very much. And I'm glad that God rose that to the top for me this morning, because I know I probably don't say it enough, don't show it enough. But I want you to know that you are one of the best things that has ever happened to me. And you are appreciated. Love you. And love y'all that are listening. Please comment and let me know your thoughts.